Can we be proud of something and still honor God? Well, stick around because today we're going to look at the story of a king living like a cow and look at the dangers of pride. Well, hey there, my name is WayneWrz, and on this channel we are walking the journey towards Jesus together. You can subscribe to join our community and get a new Bible study video every Tuesday. Last week I was wearing a t-shirt that was promoting my YouTube channel while I was talking about being humble. Go ahead and leave me a comment, let me know if you noticed that and if you thought it was weird. How can I talk about being humble while I wear a t-shirt that says, look at this thing that I'm doing that I think is pretty good and you should check it out? Is it pride to think that you do something well and to want others to know about it? In Daniel chapter 4, we see the story of King Nebuchadnezzar, who had some Jewish captives working in his courts. One of those captives was Daniel. And King Nebuchadnezzar had this dream where there was this tall and huge flourishing tree that you could see from everywhere. And it provided shade and it provided food for men and for beasts. But then a messenger from heaven came and gave orders to cut down the tree, but to leave the stump. Now Daniel was able to give an interpretation of the dream to King Nebuchadnezzar. The tree represented King Nebuchadnezzar. He would lose his kingdom, his power. He would live with the beasts of the field and eat grass like cattle until he recognized the Most High God as ruler. But Nebuchadnezzar doesn't change his ways. In Daniel chapter 4 verses 29 and 30 we read, 12 months later he was walking on the roof of the royal palace of Babylon. The king reflected and said, is this not Babylon the Great, which I myself have built as a royal residence by the might of my power and for the glory of my majesty? The king could see his kingdom from the roof of his palace and he thought, I have done some great stuffs. His focus was on what he had done. He gave no credit, no glory, no honor to God or to anyone else. He wanted you to see what he himself had done. And then Nebuchadnezzar says this last line. He says, for the glory of my majesty. King Nebuchadnezzar wanted all the glory. He wanted people to look at his great accomplishments and marvel and wonder at what he had done. And then his dream came to pass. Nebuchadnezzar was driven from his kingdom, lived as a beast of the field, ate grass like a cow, and didn't keep his appointments at Great Clips. For 7 years he lived this way. And then in verse 34 we read, but at the end of that period, I, Nebuchadnezzar, raised my eyes toward heaven, and my reason returned to me. And I blessed the Most High, and praised and honored him who lives forever. For his dominion is an everlasting dominion, and his kingdom endures from generation to generation. All the inhabitants of the earth are accounted as nothing, but he does according to his will in the host of heaven and among the inhabitants of the earth, and no one can ward off his hand or say to him, what have you done? At that time my reason returned to me, and my majesty and splendor were restored to me for the glory of my kingdom, and my counselors and my nobles began seeking me out. So I was re-established in my sovereignty, and surpassing greatness was added to me. Now I, Nebuchadnezzar, praise, exalt, and honor the King of heaven, for all his works are true, and his ways are just, and he is able to humble those who walk in pride. Nebuchadnezzar praised and honored God and was restored. Having a great kingdom wasn't the issue. Pointing people towards his own greatness was the pride that led Nebuchadnezzar to eating like a cow for 7 years. In the end, Nebuchadnezzar says, I praise, exalt, and honor the King of heaven. Nebuchadnezzar uses his greatness to point others towards the Almighty God, creator of all things. So the focus isn't necessarily on the things that we do, but where those things point. I hope that you do great things that you can be proud of, and I hope those things point others towards the love of Christ. Thank you so much for checking out the video this week. If you liked it, you can hit the thumbs up button, you can share it with your friends, and subscribe to join our community. Let me leave you with this question that you can answer in the comments and discuss with a friend, a parent, or a pastor. How can our pride take away from pointing others towards Christ? There are a few more questions below for discussion that I would encourage you to check out, and I'll see you later, alligator. And King Nebuchadnezzar, the king could see his kingdom? Eat grass like a cattle, like a cow. Kingdom wasn't the issue. I don't know what to say after that.